Okay, we're out in the front of the property. The front door faces east, so we're just basically saying this is the east side. Faces east southeast. But here we are next to the driveway, so we would be on the south side of the driveway. This is the water meter. It's electronic water meter. Best you can do is just sit there and wait for it, and it doesn't seem to be moving. Hasn't seemed to move. This arrow is pointing towards the house. That means that the water's on. If you turn this arrow away from the house so that these little holes line up and you can put a padlock in there, then that's the water's off. That doesn't belong to you. The meter belongs to the company, to the municipality, to the utility company, to the vendor, call it what you will, water company. Okay? This belongs to them. And anything in front of it belongs to them. So you shouldn't be messing with that, actually. So, but you might not have a choice, because I cannot find a main water shutoff valve to the house. And the lock has been taken off of this lid, so people have been using this. And that is I use my forensic imagination. I think people have been using that as the main water shutoff valve. I'm not going to call it the main water shutoff valve. I'm going to say that the main water shutoff valve, you can't find it. Maybe it's over here. Maybe it's underneath this guy. Something's underneath this guy. But it's not in line with the house really well. It doesn't mean that it's not it. And I can't excavate this hole. I'm not getting anything. Okay. I'm sure they didn't put this box there for no good reason. But I can't determine that it's the main water shutoff valve for the house. What is likely, but we don't know, is the main water shutoff valve for the lawn sprinkler, the irrigation system. That might be the case, but we don't know. So that box should be excavated, and if there is a valve in there, you should be able to excavate it in line with gravel. You should be able to get your hand in there, wrap your hand around it to service the valve and operate the valve. And again, I highly suspect it goes to the lawn sprinkler irrigation system. But if it goes to the house, you're going to want to use that. If it goes to the lawn sprinkler irrigation system, you're going to want to use that too. Those are just things you're going to want to do. Moving on towards the house, we're going to check the water pressure. Now, one thing that I noticed on all the bib faucets around the exterior, I say all because there's several, is I'm not seeing any vacuum breakers. So we want, vacuum breaker anti-siphon devices, if you will. So I'm not seeing any. There aren't any apparent. There's some discussion that when they're bulbulous like this, that might be an anti-siphon. ABP, back pressure, anti-back pressure, maybe. No more than 80 psi. And we're getting 85 psi. So when you put we're supposed to let that set for about 15 minutes, and we will. When you get the main water shutoff valve to the house, you would put a regulator on it, and you could dial that down so that the problem with having over 80 psi is it puts too much stress on your plumbing. So now we've got a device in here, and this is for the time being. I guess it's okay, but anytime you have over 80 psi, you should have an expansion tank, and you do. So leave the door open. I need to close that. So we've got too much water pressure, and we cannot find the main water shutoff valve. Let's just move on organically. My client was under the impression that this house has a septic tank system. A private, and I don't inspect septic tanks. But I'm seeing a clean out here, and there's a clean out on the other side. On the wall I understand, but out here in the yard like this, to me this is a clue, it's an indication that there's a real possibility that this might be on city water. You know, I mean, you might have, just like your water supply, you don't have a private well, it's supplied by the municipality. I believe that there's a real possibility that your septic system could also be. However, I don't know what this is that our septic tank? It's kind of interesting. Well, we're not going to pry it up and look, but so we do have clean out. I am identifying it, single clean out, but the jury's out on what kind of sewer system this home has. And then we got a lawn sprinkler irrigation system where that irrigation box over there is covered up, and that might be the main disconnect. This would be the vacuum breaker for the lawn sprinkler system. And when you have them above grade like this, one thing I like these a lot because there's no moving parts, but it should be covered, it should be insulated to keep it from freezing. All your piping is above grade right there. And how's our water pressure doing? It's coming down, but it's still over 80.